Hello, and welcome to Candidates Upfront, a public interest election program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. Our November 7th general election is coming up. Citizens who are 18 or older will vote for judges, school directors, and township, borough, and city officials. The deadline to register to vote is October 23rd. To check your voting status, go to vote.pa.gov. That's vote.pa.gov. You can register, change your party, locate your polling place, or apply for an absentee or mail-in ballot. And the deadline to apply for those is October 31st. If you are looking for information on statewide, school, or township races or borough officials, please use the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. That's vote411.org. And for information on countywide and Reading candidates, please stay tuned. The League interviewed candidates in contested races, those who wanted to be interviewed, and for each race, the candidates got the same basic questions and had the same amount of time to answer them. For the League, I'm Judith Cranis, and let's begin.
Hello, I'm Kay Herring from the League of Women Voters of Berks County. And today we have a candidate that is on the ballot to be Berks Treasurer. There are two candidates that are running for that position this year. One is Democrat Winston Delaunay and Republican Mitchell R. Darcourt is the other. You may vote for one. The treasurer is the custodian of all county monies and funds. The treasurer collects real estate taxes, fees, and receipts, and disperses all funds after authorization by the controller. The treasurer issues licenses for hunting, fishing, dogs, motorboats, gun permits, and small games of chance. The treasurer heads the tax claim office. The term is 4 years, and the salary is $96,043. In this election will be to fill out the last 2 years of a 4-year term. Each candidate's views are their own and are not those of the League or BCTV. And today we have with us Winston DeLeon.
Hello.
And hi.
Hi.
I'm going to ask you to tell the viewers about yourself and why are you running for Berks Treasurer?
Awesome. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I was really looking forward to have this interview to share with the public and everybody in Berks County to let you know about myself. My name is Winston DeLaunay, and I'm running for Berks County Treasurer. And I know, you always, as a candidate, get asked that question, and sometimes you have to stop and think, because sometimes you have somebody that have knowledge about the position. Sometimes you have people that are young and they just want to know about the position. And most of the time I do have to tweak that a little bit, but I came to a conclusion that the reason why I'm running for Berks County Treasurer is because I do care for the county. I do want to represent the people here, and I want to make sure they can be seen and be heard if they need anything concerning or regarding their taxes or anything that has to do with the county treasurer's office.
Great, thank you. If you could share your background with us, your experience, whether that be job experience or community work, and then particularly what in that background would prepare you for this position.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy to share that, I'm coming from a bank industry. So I know my dad, if you're looking, you should be laughing, because I know I said at a young age I would never work at a bank. Well, I spent the last 6 years working in banks of my life before I transitioned to a titling company that I'm working currently. But I went to college for computer science. That was my the field that I choose to go to school. But I do have a lot of experience in banking, mainly as a loan officer. I'm very, I want to say, aware about the needs of balance and checking and anything finance-wise. So I can definitely use that as a good support for my candidacy, and hopefully, if I get elected, be a good county treasurer.
Great, thank you. In business, there would be one financial manager. This is a little bit of a long question, but it helps to explain what the position of county treasurer, how it balances what job needs to be done. So in business, there is one financial manager. In the county government, to provide the checks and balances, there are three. The treasurer is the one who handles income and investments. The controller, who handles bookkeeping, auditing, and check writing. And then there's the commissioners has a budget and finance manager. Each office has a different agenda and different goals, and perhaps even a different political philosophy. What personal qualities do you feel that you have that will help you make and maintain a good working relationship in that situation, the relationship with the other financial offices?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I've been working for big companies. So before I worked for banking, I used to be a quality assurance for a ginormous customer service that's known worldwide, around the globe. So I do have experience working with different type of people and at different levels, as well as when I was in banking. You have to talk to your underwriters, talk to your manager, so talk to the tellers. And so that gives me an advantage of working, at the county level with all this government office that we're going to be interacting, such as the assessment office and tax claim. I know I'm going to have a good communication skills to receive feedbacks and also provide feedbacks if we have to.
Okay. And another difference between government rules and business rules. In government, there are specific rules for investing funds, and they're different than when you're in business. And if you could please explain what you see as the differences, and how will you stay updated with when changes occur as there are new rules and they are rolled out?
Well, as far as I find out, because I visited the county treasurer's office, and so I noticed that they have a book that has different rules and laws when it comes to investments. So that will be a good guidance for me, especially coming from a business perspective. When you're in banking, you have to deal with people's money at a personal level. But I also have the privilege to interact with a lot of business owners and handle a lot of investors. So I know from that perspective, it probably won't be a big of a change. It was probably just being an adjustment as of following the rules at a government level compared to like business.
Now, in the staff at the treasurer's office, there are professional staff that need to stay updated to maintain their credentials. Do you feel continuing education is needed for other staff, like all of the staff in the office?
Absolutely. I believe, and I am a product of being always, educating as I progress in the jobs that I was performing. I'm an advocate of always, educate and capacitate yourself for whatever needs you have. So I believe that if we have a department that's going to require a new training, I probably will be the first one being the champion for that training and make sure they get educated and they get whatever education they need.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about the county's revenue cycle. Most of the county's funds, especially for state-mandated services, come through state government. When the state doesn't pass its budget on time by June, state funds are delayed until there is a budget and appropriate legislation. Luckily, most people pay their county real estate tax and personal property tax between February and July. But these are a small portion of what the county needs in order to operate. How does the treasurer make sure that there is always money in the bank to pay the bills?
Well, I don't. Well, I don't have the experience working as a county treasurer yet. But in banking, we do have a buffer, meaning that we normally keep a balance as of with the savings account. So I'm assuming the county treasurer will be the same thing. And I should have refrained myself from assuming because I know I have to learn that. But the county treasurer will probably use some of the funds from the taxpayers between February and June, and use that as a buffer, in conjunction with the savings that we already have in the commercial bank accounts.
And also related to real estate taxes and how people pay them and they are collected. Most people pay their real estate tax by writing out a check to their local tax collector. Do you feel this is the best way to collect taxes? Or are there changes you would make or like to make to the tax collection system?
Well, personally, I probably wrote maybe like 10 checks in my life. I do everything electronically, and I know that's not the case for everybody. And knowing all the people that I handled when I was in banking, there is a few people that want to have the ability to pay with a check. So I will not take that away from anybody if that's what they choose to pay. But I will definitely probably promote the electronic payment because it's easier. And if it's not implemented, I'll probably implement a secure system for every taxpayer and also for the county. I want to make sure all of us are protected. And we have, maybe not the finest, but the most competitive system to provide, a legitimate and an easy-to-use system for all the taxpayers, as well as for the tax collectors.
I know for me, that's one of the last checks that I write anymore is when I have to pay real estate taxes. So, okay, on another topic, as the treasurer, you will be a board member of the Berks County Employees Retirement Fund. This topic has a couple of questions. I'll read through them and then we can go back and talk about each one. Have you ever served on the board of a retirement fund, first of all? And then what do you see as important for the investment policy of a retirement fund? And another question about then how would you choose the advisors who actually would manage the investments? So back to the first question, have you ever served on the board of a retirement fund?
No, I have not.
Okay. And can you make any comments about what you would feel would be important for the investment policy of a retirement fund?
Well, while I have not been served on this board, I do have experiences in investments from previous jobs. So it's not a secret that not every investment is actually secure. So I will probably play it safe and advise anybody in the board to make sure we be as conservative as possible when it comes to invest the retirement funds for the sake of course, all the retirements, the future retires that we're going to have.
And do you have any comments about how the retirement fund board should go about choosing the advisors that actually manage the actual funds?
Again, it's kind of tough for me to answer on that, but as once elected, I would love to have a meeting with everybody and see how they're actually taking these decisions, and probably just provide my input and see how we can make it, as fair as possible and as legitimate as possible, because one of my slogan in my candidacy is transparency. So I want to make sure that, we give a fair chance and a fair shot to, the investments.
Okay. Now, I'm sure, as you know, from being in banking, many taxpayers, many people, don't understand financial jargon. How will you keep taxpayers informed about their money?
Well, the best way to keep any taxpayer, or for that matter, anybody, just like in banking, is just by providing financial statements with a more common language that they can understand what's going on with the money that they are paying, and make sure we're on top of providing those reports and those financial statements. I know the county has its own, site on the website where you can go and read all the financial statements, but we can probably work on provide something that's a little bit more user-friendly, something for like the everyday Joe that can just read it and understand it. And I'll be more than happy to provide that.
Okay. What is the most important thing you would like to achieve if you are elected? Or if you have a couple of things, you can talk about those.
Well, like I mentioned earlier in one of the previous questions, I do want to make it easy for both our taxpayers and our tax collectors. So I'll probably want to be implementing or suggesting to the county alongside with the county commissioners and the controller a way or a software that we can facilitate the pay of our taxes, maybe a user-friendly interface, because I know sometimes it gets a little intimidated when it comes to like paying your property tax. A lot of people don't want to make a mistake, so we need to make it as simple and as secure possible for our taxpayers, so they can feel confident making a tax payment, just like making a water bill payment or their phone bill, for that matter.
And what are some of the personal qualities that you have as a person that you feel will help you in that job, like accomplishing these goals?
I'm a very open person, very transparent, so I know that department will not have any issues with me when it comes to like communication. I'm very flexible. While I like to make sure the jobs get done, that's my number one priority. I want to make sure we serve the public for what they are paying for. At the end of the day, we're just another employee with the caveat of being a politician. But I want to make sure people understand, excuse me, that I'm going to do my best, my 100% to make sure we deliver the job and everybody gets served.
Are you active in any volunteer organizations or involved in other things in the community that you'd like to tell us about?
I am. Actually, my kids play baseball. They are baseball fanatics, and this is a baseball town here in the city of Redding. So we did have a start maybe about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, with a small baseball league, which we only have about maybe like 20 kids. Well, now I'm very proud to say that now that we're working together for more than a year and a half, we have 140 kids already, and we keep growing. We keep impacting families in the city of Redding, making sure the kids are safe, that they have a proper training, and that they have somebody that they can come and talk to. This is something that I've been talking to a lot of people throughout my campaign. A lot of people don't understand that, in the city of Redding, there's a lot of people that come from very humble families. But being humble doesn't mean that they can achieve anything they want. I want to make sure they understand that they can keep going, they can study, and they can get whatever career they want to get. And if they can use that ability of that talent of baseball throughout scholarship or maybe go to a trade school, they can definitely do it and achieve anything they want. That's my number one, message to all the kids in the city of Redding, and for that matter, now that I'm involved in the county, for all the kids in our county. I want to make sure they understand that there's no limit as long as their head and their heart are in the right place.
Great. That sounds like a closing statement for me, but we do have about another minute left if there's anything else that you would want to add.
Well, I do. I'm very proud of my candidacy, mainly because I did start saying that this is going to be for the youth of Berks County, but I tweak it a little bit. I want to dedicate my candidacy to everybody in the county of Berks. We feel very grateful for the city of Redding, of course, because they welcomed us back in 2017 with open arms when we moved from New York City. And that was delightful. Like, I would never forget that, and I'll I'll be grateful forever for the city of Redding and Berks County for that matter. My kids are having the best life ever, and my wife and I too. So, you know, it's just one way for me to pay back by running as a candidate for this position.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you, Winston DeLone. We just heard from him. He's running for county treasurer. Thanks for sharing your views with us.
Yeah.
And viewers, please remember that there is another candidate for treasurer, Mitchell R. Darcourt, and you may vote for one.
Thanks.
You will find Candidates Up Front, other interviews like this on BCTV and on its website and YouTube page. For more information on all the candidates, you can go to the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. All you have to do is type in your address. It will show you everyone on your particular ballot, along with information the candidates have provided to us. Vote411.org is safe, and it does not store your address. Be informed. Look up information about all of your candidates. If you need more information, you can also contact Berks County Election Services. Thank you for watching Candidates Up Front. I'm Kay Herring, and I hope you have a great day.